Hiya, just a very quick review, I hope, of the fifth in the Tomorrow When the War Began series by John Marsden, Burning for Revenge. I've been reviewing them, each one of them quickly as I finish it, for memory purposes. Okay, so in many ways, number 5 is a bit harder and a bit bitter than the previous ones. At the end of number 4, we had our Wirrawee guerrilla force back in Hell. New Zealand had refused to airlift them out after the New Zealand platoon vanished. They're in Hell, they're bored, they're angsty, and they decide to go on a bit of a walk. They've decided Wirrawee is too dangerous for them. They've blown up too many things that are too well known. So they head in the opposite direction through the hills. And, oh, spoilers. So many spoilers. Go away if you're going to read it right now. Yes, so they head through the hills to another district, Risdon I think it's called. And there they go visit a dump. So any Australian who's lived rurally or even semi-urban-y, like the Gold Coast, knows that you've got dumps. They call them recycling and reclamation stations these days, but they're a dump. And for many years, dumps were excellent places to redistribute materials. We have our dump shops today. So these guys are having a great time going through. They find things like stuffed animals and weird stuff. They're enjoying themselves. Then the soldiers come, whole heap of trucks come from they don't know where, and they hide, but it's a fairly open area. There's not a lot of hiding space. In trying to escape, they realize that the only way to escape being caught is to hide in the back of one of the trucks that's already empty. And so they hide in there, not knowing where they end up, and they end up right back at Wirrawee, inside the airport that they'd tried to get to and demolish completely without success. So here they are, right in the middle of where they'd wanted to get and where they thought they'd never be able to reach. And they wreak havoc, because that's what these guys do. They wreak such successful havoc that they destroy the tankers, they destroy most of the planes, and then they run. They're successful in getting away, which is lucky, because they would almost certainly be shot on sight, every single one of them. It's a pretty horrific attack, and it's not... The violence isn't gratuitous and isn't gone into a huge amount of detail, but this is young adult in the sense that you want, 16 or over. This probably isn't something that you want to give to your 11 or 12-year-old. Maybe, depends on the 11 or 12-year-old, I guess. Anyway, so in escaping, they decide that they can't get back to Hell, to their gorge safely. So they hide out in the town of Stratton, which is where there used to be a prison. They're not sure if it's there anymore, where they were imprisoned 2 books back. In the course of this, they find a group of feral children hiding out there as well. And that is kind of setting up the plot for the next one. At the end of this book, they manage to contact New Zealand, and the Colonel Finlay, who was running the operation to explode the airport, is really enthusiastic about their progress. He says they've done an amazing job. It might be decisive in winning the war. And he offers to airlift them back to New Zealand, and it ends with Homer telling them, "We're already home, we're not going." So this is, like I said, a lot of darkness and a lot of bitterness. There's a lot of unhappiness. Marsden makes the point that essentially all of these kids are very heavily affected by what they've done. They're probably all seriously psychologically damaged by now in different ways, though they don't necessarily realize this. I think as an adult reading this, you can see what an excellent job he's done of describing this internal experience of going from a normal happy teenager in number 1 to what they are pretty much becoming by book number 5, and we've got 2 more to go. I really don't think they'll all survive. I know Ali does, because there's a backup series, but one gets the feeling that every single one of these characters is on an edge and they're not necessarily going to make it through. I'm going straight on to the next book. This is a very short review, but I've been reviewing them as I go. I can't wait for number 6.